This is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show, highlighting all of Section 3, interviewing the greatest local coaches and athletes. Brought to you by SummitCars.com, broadcasting in the ESPN Studios. Here's your host, Mike Bristol, and Eagle Newspapers' Phil Blackwell.
What's going on with the Eagle Newspapers, Phil?
Well, we made it to 2020. Somehow we made it to this new year. It's a very busy time. We've gone through the holidays. You spend time with your family, the people you love, and I spend a lot of time with family. But now it's back to work, back to the
grind,
back to the winter sports season, and there's a whole lot going on, and ready for it.
All right, well, let's get going. We've got a great show for you, so we're going to go through that first, then Phil and I will go a little bit through the top 10 and have some fun with everybody. So we've got our SummitCars.com spotlight interview with members of the Corcoran boys basketball team. You know, championship aspirations that this team had a year ago, the Corcoran boys basketball team did quite well, 2018-19. But as a top seed got upended in the Section Class AA semifinals by Utica Notre Dame, bent on going a couple of steps further this winter. So the Cougars have enjoyed a solid start this season so far, winning last weekend's Bishop Ludden Holiday Tournament over the unbeaten host Gaelic Knights. Coach Jesse Long and four of his players, Reeves' here, Dwayne Young's here, Williams is here, Gillard's here, all the guys here in studio. We're going to go through the team, talk with Coach, and chat with the Corcoran Cougars.
Well, with Corcoran, I mean, they brought back a lot from last season, and they certainly were one of the favorites going into the season, and they've proved it, because even though they've taken a couple of defeats, a last-second defeat to Liverpool, and then West Genesee with a big game from Amika, 36 points, they still have won a lot of impressive victories. And going to Ludden and winning that tournament last weekend, even without a big game from Reeves, who's already passed 1,000 career points, showed plenty about how this team is a little more versatile than maybe people give them credit for. And in this Class AA race that seems completely wide open, Corcoran has as good a chance as anyone.
You know, after that, we've got our Wegmans Winning Spotlight interview with Section 3 Wrestling Chairman Brad Hamer. We're going to chat with Brad a little bit. We're right in the middle of the wrestling regular season. Things are going quite well for Section 3's top teams and individuals. In fact, the section is home to both the top ranked teams in the state in both large school and small school polls, plus a big group of talented individuals that will vie for state titles in the end of February. So to talk about that, plus the new group of Section 3 Wrestling Hall of Famer honorees is sectional wrestling champion Brad Hamer.
Well, I mean, the thing is, what you have here is, and when I looked at the state rankings, it kind of did a double take. I mean, Fulton we knew was pretty good, but number one in the state, that's awfully impressive. Ditto Central Valley Academy as the number one small school. That means that more than in years past because of the presence of the state dual meet tournament, which takes place on February 1st up at SRC Arena. Assuming that Fulton and Central Valley as favorites win the sectional dual meets, the Division 1 and 2 versions, that'll take place as they're favored. They got a real shot at maybe taking state honors in a way that no Section 3 teams have done in quite a long time. So we'll see how that unfolds, but it's pretty amazing to have two number one ranked teams right now.
All right, and then we've got our Upstate University Hospital Spotlight interview members of the Skinny Alice boys basketball team. And just as they did last winter, Skinny Alice boys basketball team went undefeated in December, 7-0, rose to the number 7 in the state Class B rankings, and passed quite a few important tests, including wins over the likes of West Hill and the Marcellus Mustangs, plus its own holiday tournament when it rallied in the final to beat, who was it, Minders Academy?
Minders Academy. Falls, yeah.
So the Lakers now really on a nice run here in Class B. We've got Nate Fouts here, we've got Wampus here, Jack Wertley, all here in studio to talk a little bit about the Skinny Atlas Lakers boys basketball team.
I mean, the thing with Skinny Atlas is they went through the similar thing last season where they started really quickly. I think they won 14 or 15, their first 14 or 15 games, took a couple of blemishes, and then looked like they were going to make a championship run, but General Brown upended them in the semifinals. So they come back very, very hungry this season, and they've gone and done the exact same thing. Fouts is the focal point of the attack. He has long range for a tall kid. Let me put it there in terms of long. He can shoot from 25 feet and whatever. But he's got some other options on this team. And you know, a guy like Nick Wamp, who was such a key part of championship football teams at Skinny Atlas, and he's a wide receiver. I think he's going to Colgate, I think.
That's right.
Too. I mean, there's a real reason to think that they can challenge Lowville atop the Class B realm. Of course, Lowville's ranked number 2 in the state in Class B, and they're still probably the standard. But Skinny Atlas is right behind them, and so far hasn't taken a blemish.
All right, let's talk about this. All the lead up here, Phil, in our top 10 boys basketball holiday tournaments, and obviously these tournaments went on. Let's just talk a little. Let's kind of recap a little bit of this stuff. But Class AA might be impossible to figure. Liverpool went from huge wins over Corcoran and West Jenny to dropping 2 games at a tournament at Rome Free Academy. After losing to West Jenny, Willamika's 36 points. Corcoran won Bishop Ludden's tournament, topping the host Gaelic Knights in the final. Then, on the day Amica passed 1,000 career points, his Wildcats lost to Shenandoah. And Baldwinsville sat out all of this, watching for its own game with West Jenny, where J.J. Starling was likely to pass 1,000 points. And then you got Even FM could join the fray after it handled Utica Notre Dame and Auburn last weekend. So look at this setup.
Yeah, and we want to mention Baldwinsville a little bit more because of what happened yesterday. J.J. Starling not only passed 1,000 career points, he scored 16 in the fourth quarter. 33 points overall, and did it in front of Jerry McNamara. I'm sitting 2 seats from him, by the way. GMAC's there watching because SU is one of the many schools that have tried to recruit Starling, and a star turn, literally 16 in the fourth quarter, 33 overall, and all of them crucial to help them defeat West Tennessee. So Beeville is certainly part of the picture as well. I mean, it literally is the point where there's a different best team in AA seemingly every week, and it might come down to who gets hot at the end. It seems to be setting up that way.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You look at Class A boys basketball here and some of the contenders in their own holiday tournaments. Whitesboro knocked off ESM in the final of the Spartans Classic with stifling defense. CBA managed to hold off Henniger and claim its own Beau Tarleon Classic for the first time in quite a while here. Meanwhile, JD, Bishop Grimes both lost to tough foes. Among the top B sides, Lowville is still in good shape with its lone defeat to Albany Academy. We talked about Skinny House already rising up to number 7 in the state rankings. Solvay's rout of Chittenden on the Bears tournament. They're 5-2 and going up against West Hill, which they did. Big comeback win, Cazenovia, right before the Christmas, right before Christmas. So a lot going on in Class A and B too.
If you look at the B field, I tell you, I watched Solvay on Thursday when they defeated West Hill. It's a lot of those same guys that won the football sectional championship. In fact, it's almost entirely is. Bogozzi, Scott, Bliss, Wright, those guys, and there's a senior heavy lineup. And they're pretty impressive so far this season, and very quietly after they got to a little bit of a slow start. So add Solvay to the list of contenders, and don't forget that Cazenovia is 9-2. Remember, the loss to West, I don't think they had Romanoli in the lineup, and when he's there, he can hit a lot of 3-pointers.
That's right.
So Cazenovia is in the mix too, but it still goes with Lowville. Understand, Albany Academy is one of the best teams in the state, so Lowville losing to them wasn't a big deal, and they've handled everybody else on their schedule. Meanwhile, on the A sides, you're seeing the likes of Grimes have some struggles. JD lost last night to Saratoga Springs after they fell to St. Joe's last week. Does ESM, who played JD next Friday, finally upend the Red Rams? They've been waiting a few years for this. ESM has that lone defeat to Whitesboro, and they've been pretty impressive otherwise.
All right, well, we talk about these holiday tournaments, and Weedsport boys basketball team moved up to number 7 in the latest state Class C rankings, currently sitting at 7-0 heading into the new year. Reigning state champion Cooperstown shaking off a slow start to get to number 12. Onondaga also has a spot in the rankings. It's even better in Class D, where DeRuyter has roared to an 8-0, reached number 3 in the state class poll. And the Rockets joined by defending sectional champion Lime at number 8. And the old friend of Risky, of course, who has quietly made its way to number 12 thanks to a 4-0 start. So bunch of great stuff there as well. Also to mention Faith Heritage and Hamilton in a state top 20. The Emerald Knights, despite its first defeat of the season, the Class C side, Lansing. So a lot of good stuff again here between those. Phil, when you look at all these holiday tournaments, and you start looking at all these state rankings, Weedsport, number 7, obviously Cooperstown, DeRuyter, Lime, Faith Heritage, Hamilton, all these teams within the top 20.
And all of them had big games in recent times. Weedsport last night used a couple of late free throws to beat another, I think, Class C top 10 team, Marcus Whitman from Rochester, keep themselves undefeated. Weedsport is a really tough schedule. They're going to be playing teams like Solvay and I think West Hill or Solvay and Skinny Atlas later this season. They've beefed up their schedule in order to really set themselves up for the playoffs. Cooperstown lost their first 2 games. They've won 7 in a row since. You've also have a good D game today between old rivals Oriskany and Hamilton. Very interesting to see how that game goes because Oriskany hasn't been faced the big test yet in Hamilton. Tom Blackford's coaching them and doing pretty well with them now. And Faith Heritage was undefeated. They took a narrow defeat to Onondaga last night, but the Tigers are certainly one of the better Class C teams. So the action in the small schools is pretty hot right now.
Yeah. And when I think about, and you put this down, but navigating through the crush of the Holiday Girls basketball tournaments, there was Baldwinsville further establishing its Class AA credentials with a sweep of 3 games in Florida, and then beating Utica Proctor to go to 8-0 as it gets a key game with FM. That was on Thursday. Let's go back and talk a little bit about that.
Baldwinsville did not show any ill effects from the trip. They come back, they handle Proctor, and they jump all over FM on Thursday and win that game, too. It was like 50-36, but it was much, much more lopsided early on. And the key was that the Bees' defense held Lexi Rowe, FM's best player, to 7 points. And they have great balance on their attack. I think we're going to have them on our show next week, Beeville's girls, to talk about their fantastic season so far. And Katie Pascal and players like that, they just seem like the standard right now. But beware, CNS, who took some real hits down in that Tournament of Champions, they lost 3 games in Arizona, came back here last night, doubled up Liverpool 64-32, and I believe Jessica Cook had something like 38 points as she passed 1,000 for her career.
Things up.
I mean, I think CNS is ready to roar now, having taken all their licks earlier this season. And CNS and Beeville will get each other in a couple of weeks, and that looks like maybe the battle of the top 2 AA sides at this point.
And Phil pointing out CNS, but won its first game at the Nike Tournament of Champions in Arizona, but then lost the next 3. FM and Liverpool both split games, while most of the top Class A sides rested, including JD, CBA, and Bishop Ludden, all of whom are state-ranked. Still, by the way, undefeated. The brothers get challenged by Chittenango here in girls' hoops this weekend as the Gaelic Knights today, who lost to South Jeff just before the holidays, welcome St. Mary's from the Buffalo area.
St. Mary's gave JD a pretty good game, I think. They played JD last night.
Right.
JD pulled it out. And maybe now they're starting to finally get healthy, JD, after they took those 2 early defeats. Now they've been undefeated since. As for CBA, I watched them last night against Chittenango. The most underrated great player in this area is Brooke Jarvis. Jarvis had 29 points last night. She's already second all-time CBA in career scoring. And, and she gets almost no attention among the top players in Central New York. But she's part of a team that's undefeated, just got into the state rankings, and offers, I think, a legitimate challenge to JD's long reign in Class A, as does Whitesboro. Don't forget about them. They're off to a pretty solid start as well. Class A is deeper than in years past. Ludden, Whitesboro, CBA are all legitimate challengers to JD, I believe.
All right, one more south. Jeff here in girls hoops, Class B, got its rankings after last weekend's more than a game tournament, where it held off West Hill in a rematch of last March sectional final. Just as consequential was Chittenango's tournament, where the undefeated Bears went after undefeated Oneida and only missed a missed 3-pointer. All the Horn allowed the Indians to hang on and win, but these two could easily meet again in the playoffs. Let's talk a little bit about that, then I want to touch on Bishop Grimes.
Well, South Jefferson, that was a real battle with West Hill. They had a lead. West Hill came back. They needed a couple late 3 throws to pull that game out, keep themselves atop the state rankings. But the thing is, I think West Hill took from that game was that they might be better than what their uneven start has shown. And now they've started to take it out. Very impressive win over Onondaga last night, and maybe the Warriors are rounding into shape. Chittenango, I shouldn't worry too much. They showed some real fight in that CBA game. They just had a very bad start, and they never recovered from it, but still managed to produce a lot, and they're not going to be facing – they're going to still be part of the mix. And don't forget, Marcellus as well only has 1 loss themselves. There's another team to think about, and maybe some also teams like Adirondack and Central Valley Academy. As usual, the Class B field is pretty deep, and we mentioned Bishop Grimes. That was impressive, them beating FM last weekend. Maybe they're a team to think about as well. They've really battle-tested themselves early.
And talk about the MTAG tournament also in Avenge Indian River.
Yeah, that was important because
earlier
Grimes
in the month,
is showing they have a depth. They have players like Marielle and Sloan and Shea Powell and players like that. And they'll be heard from before the season's over as well.
All right, Phil and I got an action-packed show on deck. Corcoran boys basketball team. This, of course, is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports, presented by SummitCars.com.
This is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show, brought to you by SummitCars.com.
All right, here we are back on the program. Mike Bristol and the great Phil Black. Well, Phil always do an incredible job lining up all the interviews, and we appreciate that, obviously. We've got our SummitCars.com spotlight interview with members of the Corcoran boys basketball team. Coach Jess Long, what's up, Coach? How are you?
I'm doing great.
It's great to have you in studio. Tell me a little bit about the team right now.
Well, we're just starting to come together. We had a couple new pieces added to the team this year, and we're starting to come together as with our chemistry. We really work very hard in creating that culture of a family. A lot of teams talk about having a tight-knit team, and we really create a culture of a family with our team.
I like how you said soup du jour Reeves. What's up, Reeves? Hello, everybody. Tell me about kind of being one of the leaders here on this team.
It feels
responsibility, what you got to do on the court, what coach tells you. What does coach tell you?
I got to do a lot on and off the court.
Yep.
I got to bring them in.
Yep.
Make sure they get extra shots up after and before practice. Make sure they're on time.
You got some responsibility. You're like kind of a dad/coach/player.
Yeah, these are my kids.
Dwayne Young, what's up, Dwayne Young? Say hello.
What's up?
What's happening? Nice. Get close to the mic. Have a good time with this. What's going on?
Nothing much. How about you?
Who's the best dunker on the team?
It's either me or Avion.
Nice. That's what I want. That's what I thought. Arthur Williams, what's up, Arthur?
Hey, how you doing?
What's going on? Everything good?
Yeah.
What's the best
what your
part?
job is, Art?
Yeah, what is your job? Are you the enforcer?
Yeah, right now. My job is I just shoot threes.
Just light it up.
Yeah.
Bounce around. You getting a lot of picks, or what? Off the dribble?
Nah, I got to create my own shot.
Got to create your own shot. All right. That's right. Jason, what's up, Jason?
What's up?
What's going on with you?
Nothing much.
Tell us about the team. What do you do on this team?
I pace the court and I keep the team together when we're in tough times.
Nice. Get them all joined together. I like that. All right, Coach, let's go to you. Let's be honest here. How tough was it seeing West Jenny winning a state title, knowing you beat them during the regular season and nearly did so twice?
Well, it was a little bit tough to watch, but I give West Jenny and Fred and those guys out there a lot of credit. You know, they really put it together. They got hot down the stretch, and they made the plays to win. And it was pretty awesome knowing that another team from our section went and won a state championship. Liverpool the year before that, and then having West Jenny. You know, we're very proud of our section here and the basketball players we have here. And, you know, it was tough to watch, but I was also proud of our section and what Central New York does for, high school basketball here in the Double A's.
All right, I like that. We've got our SummitCars.com spotlight interview, Corcoran Cougars boys basketball team. Let's go back to you there, superstar. Let's talk a little bit about passing 1,000 career points. Big time. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So talk about the hard work.
It was a lot of hard work that I had to do all season and season. I had to work on my jump shot because freshman year, I had
Need some work.
a couple threes, and then sophomore season I fell off. I hit like 3 threes, and then junior season I came back, and then senior year I'm doing better.
There you go. DeJour Reeves, I like the recap, by the way. Coach, and all the work you're doing, I guess, off-season practices, getting these guys focused, all that kind of stuff, what still needs to improve?
We need to come together and play better defense. We need to, continue to improve defensively as a team. You know, we've got some good defenders. We got to play better on-ball defense, but our help side defense, get our rotations down. And that hurt us last night. We had some traps against FM, and we were didn't get quite to our rotations and left some open three-point shooters.
Arthur, you got 19 points against Ludden. Let's talk about that. You took advantage a little bit here. DeJour hooking you up, the team, doing your thing, but you got 19. Talk about that.
It was just I had to step up because we were man down. Our player DJ, he hurt his knee right now. We gonna miss him, but I just had to step up and we need some more points.
Yep, that's good. Congratulations, great job, Dwayne. Let's talk to you here for a second. Is the goal in every game making sure that point production is spread around so that teams, really don't know who to defend at what point?
Yeah, you could say that, but we just like a team. We're just a good team put together. We don't really care.
Whoever's got the hot hands gonna get the ball.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Coach, talk a little bit about on the defense side, what you're doing in practice and how you're going to fix things.
Well, I don't know if we need to fix things. We just need to continue to get better. We do a lot of defensive drills, and we don't do a lot of running in practice. All our drills are so fast-paced and up-tempo, and we just do
Does it help off the ball? Is it, certain double teams? Is it traps? Is it full court press? Is it a combo of everything? Are you playing more 2-3? Are you doing more man? What's going on?
We're a full-court man pressure team.
All right. So you're like the old Georgetown teams.
You got it.
Yep.
And we like to trap off the pass and stuff like that. What we need to really work on is our rotation. The 4 of these guys in a room do a very good job of getting to their rotation. It's the other guys that are new to the varsity have to figure out where they have to be. We get 2 guys on the ball. Like Art did, very proud of Art against Bishop Blood. He scored all those points. But what he did more so was he got to his rotations, and a bunch of times DeJour and Dwayne got to their traps, and Art was coming backside, rotating to the ball, and just stepped right in the passing lane and took the ball.
You get a guy who's a great dribbler, a great point guard too, who's going to bust through that. How do you handle that? You're trying to double team that, or what are you trying to do?
Well, we've got there's a couple guys in our league where we're going to send some more double teams to. We had some trouble with Will and Mika early in the year against West Jenny, and Dejor can do a very good job defending him. But our problem was off the ball. They were setting lots of screens, and our big guys weren't giving him enough help off the ball. And when he got it, he was able to get downhill at us.
Same kind of defense against Beeville's J.J. Starling, we'll see.
Yes, JJ's unique in himself, and you got to make sure you contain everybody else. He's going to get his every night. Yeah. He is that dynamic, but you got to kind of try to limit everybody else. And we got some things in line for JJ.
DeJour, who do you like going up against? What team or what players or somebody that you can't wait to play?
It really don't matter.
Doesn't matter to you.
No.
Dwayne, how about you? Someone you like battling against, you want to play against, a guy you like talking trash to?
The best team. I like being an underdog.
Yeah. That's good. Arthur, how about you?
Not really. I just want to go out and get a win. It don't matter who's against.
Jason?
I like playing the best teams out.
Yeah.
People that got the most names.
Yeah. Coach, being at Corcoran, what have you learned here working with these guys?
Well, I'm very proud of them. Last night we've got a 2-point game against FM, and it really comes down to their character.
Big game.
Up by 2 with 7 seconds left, and we're in a huddle and a timeout, and it's just nothing but everybody paying attention, listening, focus, giving each other encouragement. Really on task. In the past, it hasn't always been that way. There's been some animosity, some different things going in the huddle. But these guys, just like last year's team, they're really focused on getting a win. They're very unselfish, and they're all about the team. Talk
about, real quick, if you can, the other coaches and kind of the staff that you have here.
We've got a great staff. I've got Angelo Coker's my assistant coach. He goes out there and he does so many things with these guys in off season. He's my go-to guy. These guys are all playing AAU, traveling together, go down to North Carolina a couple times a year.
That's great.
And we're really, again, with those guys together, we create the culture of a family. And it's not just a basketball team. We're a basketball family, all of us together.
Beautiful. Phil, you got anything to add real quick? Phil Blackwell, the Eagle Newspapers.
I have to admit, these guys are busy today. They're having the bottle drive.
I heard about that.
We want to promote this.
Yeah.
They have a bottle drive, right? And so we were glad
where's
they
the
were
bottle
able to take
drive
time
and how
to
do you
this.
help out? Let's talk about that. Coach?
Okay, we've got a bottle drive here at Corcoran. You can drop off your bottles on Ryman Road to the back of Corcoran from 10 to 2. We're also going door to door through the neighborhoods through Strathmore and the Valley, and we're knocking on everybody going door to door to collect bottles and cans. Even in this pouring rain at 37 degrees, these guys will be out there.
Working hard to get it. Yeah, that's
you
good.
got it. Varsity and JV, all 24 guys will be out there.
All right. DeJour, let's do some shout-outs. You're up first. Go ahead. Who do you want to give a shout-out to?
My family and the Corcoran fans.
All right. Dwayne, how about you?
My family and Corcoran community.
Arthur.
My family and my Corcoran basketball team.
Yeah, who's giving you the ball to chuck up your threes? Jason, how about you?
My family and the rest of the Corcoran environment.
All right. Coach?
I'd like to thank the entire Corcoran community, the staff, the students, and everybody who gives us all sorts of support. We wouldn't be able to be successful as we are without the support of everybody.
All right, big round of applause. Corcoran Cougar Hoop Team. We'll be right back. ESPN Radio 97.7, 100.1.
This is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show, brought to you by SummitCars.com.
All right, here we are back in studio. Mike Bristol, Phil Blackwell. And as I mentioned before, great job, Phil, with all the great interviews as he always lines up. A Wegmans winning Spotlight interview, Section 3 Wrestling Chairman Brad Hamer. Coach, Brad, whatever. What's going on? Chair? Super Chair? President? Which one? El Presidente?
No, just the
chair?
wrestling coordinator, yep.
Well, not just. Pretty impressive here. First of all, let's talk about, I guess, big group, talented individuals here. Phil and I were talking about a lot of state titles in February. Some tremendous wrestlers. It's great to have you here in studio. If it ever happened before, you got two teams atop the state rankings from Section 3. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, well, depending on which rankings you're looking at, but the New York Sports Writers.
We're looking at the Phil Blackwell, Mike Bristol
New York Sports
rankings.
Writers Association rankings, so I guess I'm going by there.
So they have Fulton as number 1 in Division 1 and Central Valley Academy in Division 2. And it is a great thing. I don't remember if it ever has happened since we've split into 2 divisions. So.
And quite impressive. I mean, Fulton's atop the Division I rankings and have enjoyed, obviously, a lot of great teams before. What makes this group, I guess, really strong, particularly strong?
Well, the the Fulton community and the coaching staff just do a great job of promoting the sport in Fulton. And as you said, they have a long history. I think some of these kids Their fathers were wrestlers in Fulton, so it's a family affair.
Literally born with a singlet in the cradle.
Yep,
I mean,
and they started their own Hall of Fame, Fulton Wrestling Hall of Fame, a couple years ago, and they've had some really great people to put into that. And I think the kids have those types of people to look up to. They want to be as good as those guys were many years ago.
Right, right. Phil had mentioned, and obviously when he's putting this stuff together and we're going through some of it, Central Valley, also top ranked here. And I know Mason, Merrick Bush,
those guys.
The Twins. Yep.
Who are some of the other top stars?
They've got a transfer from Adirondack that came in, and they've just had some other kids that have come along, and they travel a lot in the off season. Merrick and Mason Bush's father is the head coach, Bob.
Oh, okay.
So they travel all over the place,
constantly
as a
working
family,
on,
but also as a team. So they've put in a lot of work, and this is it's a year-round thing, as most sports are, but wrestling is really a year-round sport that takes a lot of hard work, and teams that do it, they go.
Wanted to mention that I think it was Mason that passed just 200 career victories, I believe it was.
Yep.
As a junior, folks.
Yep.
I mean, how many? Usually it's like a basketball player getting 2,000 points. It's very rare to have someone get to 200 wins in high school, and he's done it as a junior. How much further could he take it? I mean, how many have ever reached 300? Is it?
I don't know that there's anybody that's reached 300.
But the point is, he'll get close.
He'll be up there, yeah. And his Mason's 200th win was against a 2-time defending state champion, also from Section 4. So that was a great win for Mason. And Merrick, he's the bigger of the two boys. He was a state champion a couple years ago, so they've got it in the family.
To put it mildly.
Yeah, right. Let's talk about the dual meet February 1st, SRC Arena, but let's also talk about winning the whole thing. These teams have the ability to do that, and what do you think the odds are?
Well, the state duels it's unbelievable, the quality of wrestling, because you're bringing teams from all over the state, the top teams in every section. It's hard enough for a lot of teams just to get out of their pool, let alone win the whole thing. Fulton is the only team. We've only done the state dual meet championship for 2 years, but Fulton is the only team in New York State that has made the semifinals in both of those years. So they probably have as good a chance as anybody. Central Valley Academy, they were in the semis, I think, last year or the year before. So they've got a great opportunity also. It's where you put your kids and if they're on the top of their game that day. So
yeah. We've got our Spotlight interview with Brad Hamer, our Wegmans winning Spotlight interview. We talk a little bit about the state tournament structure this year. In simplest terms, what has changed? And how does it affect,
I
Section 3?
noticed there was a little bit of a change to the structure of the state tournament, of how it's structured, I think, in terms of who qualifies and what changed. I know there was some things they changed.
And for the dual meet championship, there's no change. We have tweaked a little bit the individual championships, but
what have you done? I mean, exactly.
Well,
in the simplest terms. I mean,
yeah. Well, obviously, every section champion goes to the state tournament, but then we have done for many years now. We've included wild cards or at-larges, and we've tweaked that process. There are kids that have gotten to the state tournament as a at-large or wild card and lost twice and been out. So we're trying to still kind of focus it and get the best kids in the state, so that it is. We have 16 kids in a bracket, so we want the 16 best kids from New York State. It's very difficult, and you can tweak it here and there, but sometimes it is what it is when they get there.
You wanted to mention again the Fulton. You go back to the point you were mentioning that tonight Fulton's going to be facing Spencerport in a particular head-to-head meet not at their high school, but at the Fulton Arena, War Memorial. Explain what they're doing there.
Well, I think Coach Jeff Waldron started it a year or two ago, trying to bring in a top team for a dual meet in Fulton, and I think the War Memorial that's been there a long, long time, that might hold a few more spectators than the high school gym. Plus tonight they're starting out the evening with Oswego State against RIT at 5:00, and then the Fulton Spencerport match will be at 7. It's just I went up last year. They wrestled Hilton in Fulton, and the atmosphere is it's like old days. It's wild, and the place was packed. People sitting on the floor, surrounding the mat.
I love that.
Wow.
Just like it used to be in Fulton years ago. So it's a great atmosphere.
Yeah, and I want to mention that. Now, turning to the Section 3 Wrestling Hall of Fame, you announced it about a month or two ago, the list of inductees for this year, or what it'll be. And one of them is Tim Green, which I never realized. I mean, first of all, I didn't realize he was not in the Hall of Fame. I knew he won a state title at Liverpool back in 1982.
Yep.
But I didn't realize he wasn't in this Hall of Fame. I'm like, well, it took so long.
Yeah, well, we have a process, and people have to be nominated, to be honest with you. And I think we've talked about Tim Green in the past, but no one has ever really nominated him. This year we got a great nomination in his name, and we were happy to vote him in. Obviously, he was a state champion back in 92 or 82, excuse me. But then his real success was at SU in football, and then for the Falcons.
And then author and all. We all know the things, and we know what he's dealing with now. So I'm glad that he'll be able to at least have this honor while he's still here with us, and that was a big deal, I think, also. But mention some of the other guys in the class. We have Derek Brennan, John Clark, Lee Fry, Justin Lister, and Dale Porter. Just let's talk about a little bit about each of them.
Okay, Derek Brennan was from IHC,
Watertown.
Near Watertown. He was a 3-time New York State finalist, but finally a champion his third year in 2008. John Clark actually was Fulton's first Section 3 champion, but again, his claim to fame was as coach at St. Lawrence University. I have a couple of stats on John. He gave me these. He brought a lot of Section 3 wrestlers to St. Lawrence University.
A pipeline, really.
In fact, 64 Section 3 wrestlers attended St. Lawrence. 38 of those were Section 3 champions, 4 New York State high school champions, 15 NCAA All-Americans, and 5 were NCAA champions, national champions. So, John, he also told me this will be his 9th Hall of Fame that he's been inducted to.
Not that he's bragging or anything about it.
He said this was the most special of all of them.
Really?
Because this is where he grew up, and this is where he grabbed a lot of the kids from, and so he's really, really excited about going in.
Yeah.
Lee Fry is a longtime wrestling guy from the Utica area. He was a wrestler down there. He coached at Frankfurt Schuyler. He's been an official, just a contributor that has put in many, many years in wrestling, and he's very deserving of this honor.
So many unsung heroes in this sport that people don't think everyone knows the name coaches and the name wrestlers. But like with any sport, there's all kinds of people like Lee who are the guys that are really the backbone of the whole thing.
Right. Yep. And we've talked about Tim Green. Justin Lister. Justin was a wrestler at South Jefferson. He was a 3-time New York State finalist, never a champion, came close, heartbreaking sometimes. He went on to Binghamton University and became a Division I All-American, placing 4th in 2010.
In the NCAA Division I, which is just a big deal. I mean, it's so hard to get for any local wrestler. I mean, to get to that far, I mean, the level of competition there is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it was fun watching Justin progress and grow, because he started out as a little guy.
Well, they all do.
Little guy. And now you should see the size of him. He is an Ohio State police officer, and he is a monster.
Don't mess with him.
Right. Finally, Dale Porter, another wrestler from South Jefferson. He was a Section 3 champ, placed 3rd in New York State back in 71, maybe 70.
When there was only one tournament.
Correct.
I keep remembering, guys, there was only one state tournament back then, which makes it a little more difficult.
Yes. And then he went on to Cornell University, became an Eastern champ at Cornell, and finished in the top 8 in Division I. But at the time, they only made the top 6 All-Americans in the NCAA. So Dale finished in the top 8. Very impressive. And Dale was an official for many years up in the Watertown area. and he's just a very deserving, just a great guy.
Now, we mentioned obviously those two big name programs, but who are some of the other maybe individual wrestlers in some of the other schools that maybe people will look at the end of the season, or some of the top teams that have surprised, or some of those guys?
Yeah, well, I think Indian River in Division One.
They've emerged this year.
They've done a nice job.
Won their own North Country tournament.
Yeah, he's got some good individual kids. They came down here and won the Janesville DeWitt dual meet tournament a few weeks ago, and JD has been strong over the years, the last few years, and so I think they'll be in it in Division One. In Division Two, the Central Valley Academy and some of their individuals are probably, head and shoulders above some other teams. But there are some individuals that'll do well. The kid from Mexico,
Shambo.
Shambo.
He just won.
He just won. Beat 2 Section 3 champions to win the Haynes tournament last week.
Big tournament last week.
So there are some good individuals, great individuals.
Wanted to mention also, I'll get to this quickly, that the sectional class tournaments on February 8th, the double A's will be at Auburn this time.
Yep.
A's at Watertown, B's at Central Valley, C's at Canastota, D at Sherburne-Riverville. And will you get to all of them? I remember saying you did this the last few years.
Yeah, I will. Last year, because the way they were spread out, we did not make it back to West Genesee for the double A's. But Auburn is only 15 minutes from my house, so I'll start there in the morning and then, go. We have a group of guys now that I used to do it by myself. Now we have a group of guys. They're all retired, and we go together. So it'll be a
Auburn
nice day.
to Sherburne-Riverville is like 3 hours apart almost.
It is what it is. It's fun, though.
Trad's right. You're traveling, you make it happen. Brad, thanks so much for coming in the studio.
Yes, you're welcome.
We appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me.
All right, Brad Hamer doing an incredible job and talking wrestling here. And Phil will be right back. We got our Upstate University Hospital interview with the Skaneateles boys basketball team on deck. So, all right, we'll be right back. ESPN Radio 97.7, 100.1.
This is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show, brought to you by SummitCars.com.
All right, Mike Bristol, Phil Blackwell, the Skaneateles Lakers boys basketball team. And great to have the boys in the studio. Fellas, what's going on? First, let's introduce you. Nate Fouts. What's up, Nate?
Good to be here.
You sound fired up, Nate. Nick Womp. What's up, Nick?
Not much. How are you?
Good. Jack Wortley. What's up, Jack?
Not much. How are you?
7-0, number 7 in the state, Class B rankings. Nate, let's talk about the rankings. Pretty cool. You guys excited about that, or?
Yeah, we are pretty excited.
Yeah, talk about getting there and what you guys have done. What have you accomplished so far here?
Well, last year we started pretty much the same way. We were like 10-0 to start the year, so we don't really pay attention to the rankings that much. Because last year we were ranked pretty high and we didn't really finish the season how we wanted to.
All right, so you're doing exactly as you just mentioned what happened a season ago in terms of quick start. What's different about this team in terms of its makeup and quality, do you think, compared to last year?
I think this year Nick's playing. He's obviously really important to our team.
You didn't play last year? I'm trying to remember here.
No, I did indoor track.
Wait a minute.
You
Let's
did.
talk about this for a second, Nick. Let's get to that for a second. Nick Womp, ladies and gentlemen, we've got our Spotlight interview, Skaneateles boys basketball team. What's the switch from track to hoops?
So I played basketball most of my life, and then last year I just want to take some time, get faster, get stronger for football.
Yep.
So then I ended up committing to Colgate in the spring, which I think was a great decision for me athletically and academically.
No question. Yep.
And so then now I want to come back, play basketball, and help the team out.
Nice job. All right, keep going, Nate.
And then we brought up a few kids from JV. We have Max and Tyler from JV, who are both pretty important to
That'd
our...
be Max Womp, his younger brother, and
Yeah.
Tyler Del Favro, is it right?
Yeah.
They're doing well. I mean, they've already made big contributions.
That's
Yeah.
right. Jack, talk about the chemistry of the team.
Chemistry this year is great. Everybody gets along. We're all excited to be there, and we're all chasing the same goal.
Good as last season was, how frustrating was it that it ended the way it did? You had the chance against Lowville, and you faced them, obviously, in the finals.
We wish you had a chance to face them,
Face them
and
in the
given the
final,
fact that Lava went all the way almost to the state title. So I was like, Did you see that and think, wow, it could have been us?
Yeah, we lost to General Brown in the semifinals, and we just weren't thrilled with the way it ended. We felt we deserved to be in this championship game, but I mean, we didn't get there. So
Yeah. Nate, talk a little bit about your game, shooting threes, getting the bucket, all that kind of mixing things up a little bit. You do like to chuck up the tray, though.
Yeah. I think
From anywhere. I watched the Marcellus game. He's going from 25 feet. I mean,
Did you get the green light?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
I think, yeah.
Except when your teammates are yelling at you.
Yeah, not
What's your range?
He's
I mean,
making
what's your range? I mean,
I think probably like 25.
Good range.
30 feet.
Not too bad. Someone's got to guard you.
And yeah, you got to.
Got to get out on the shooters.
Yeah.
because Nate, you're 6 foot, whatever is it?
6'7".
6'7", and you got that kind of range. You would think that colleges would draw some attention with that. Have you drawn some attention from them?
Yeah, I have a couple of interests so far.
What are the thoughts? Where?
I don't know. A few colleges like George Washington, like Cornell, like schools like that, like small D1s. But I think
GW is not a small D1.
yeah,
good school.
But I think some like during the spring, I think my recruitment will probably pick up a little bit.
Yeah, see where it goes from there. You're sending out videos. You doing some stuff like that, or you just kind of sitting back? You're sending.
Yeah, and I play for City Rocks.
Oh, okay,
EYBL.
gotcha. Yeah. Good team. Let's talk about, I guess, are there games? So, Jack, where Nate, you'll just want to keep firing even when some of the shots aren't falling. You got to be the guy that kind of gets things going, right?
Yeah, I'm just like sometimes when our offense isn't really clicking, guys just kind of look towards me and Jack to score. So that's kind of important for us.
All right, Nick, let's talk to this for a second. You've been on some great teams, obviously, including the state championship football team, as you just kind of mentioned here. Talk about that team and then obviously now being on this basketball team.
For our 2017 state championship team, we had great team chemistry, which I see in this team. Everyone just really wants to contribute, do their job, and just work hard. And I've seen that this year. We've got a lot of younger guys that have worked hard. They've done their jobs. They help us in practice if they don't even get in the games. And you just got to give a shout out to those guys because for their practice play, that really helps us to prepare for teams. And that was the same way in our state championship team. The younger freshmen and sophomores, they would really help us scout the other teams, and they'd play hard, and they've really contributed to our success.
I like it. Jack, talk a little bit about some of the tough games you guys have played. I mean, there have been some tough games. What's been the most satisfying for you?
Me personally at Marcellus because
I wonder why. That's right. That's always.
I've been on the team for 3 years now, and we've been chasing the road win there. It's always very tough to play.
Great to pick it up.
Yep.
Nick, how about you? What's been the most satisfying for you?
I mean, I'd also have to say Marcellus.
Yeah.
It's always good going in there and just getting a win. My sophomore year when I last played, we beat him at home and went there. I think we lost by 30, which is always just disappointing.
Yeah,
But to get that win just in that atmosphere with their crowd and against a good team was a good win.
Nate, how about you?
Yeah, I agree with that. But also beating West Hill again this year was also a good win for us.
What do you think about West Hill? Talk a little bit about their team.
I mean, they're always a contender. They're always really good.
Yep.
So it's always a good win.
Yeah, that's good. Phil, go ahead.
Yeah, but I also want to mention you made a pretty good victory in your own tournament against Minders Academy. You were behind in that game most of the game. What turned that game around?
Yeah, so to start, me and Jack got in pretty bad foul trouble. We had like 3 fouls in the first quarter, so we had to sit for like the entire first half, and we were losing by like 10 at halftime. But then in the third quarter, we just picked it up like we do a lot of games so far this year.
All right, guys, real quick, let's go. Nate, what needs to improve to get a championship sectional title this year?
I think our defense needs to improve, obviously. I think our rebounding needs to improve, and yeah.
All right, Nick, how about you? What needs to happen?
I think we are a team that starts off very slow, and if we start the game off strong and just do what we do in the third and fourth quarter, in the first and second, then I think we'll be fine.
Make it happen. Jack, how about you?
I agree with the slow starts. I mean, if we can just do that earlier.
Get going.
Yeah.
All right, shout-outs. Nate, who do you want to give a shout-out to?
Shout out to the rest of the team.
Beautiful. Nick, shout
out to my parents, my family, Max, and Bryce Lincoln.
Very cool.
Bryce Lincoln.
Jack, how about you?
Our coach, Carl Norris.
Carl, still rocking it, huh?
Yeah, he's done a great job, I think, too, with this team.
Yeah.
I mean, really done a solid job.
All right, we'll be right back. Phil Blackwell, Skinny Ass Boys Hoop Team. Give yourselves a big round of applause. Great season, you guys, so far. Great job. All right, ESPN Radio 97.7, 100.1. 77, 100.1. 77, 100.1. 77, 100.1. 77, 100.1.